What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. I sincerely hope that you are. It's snowing here in Wisconsin. It's November 1st. As we turn the page from Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas, I'm really glad you're here. And if you're one of my, the 30% of people that watch my videos that aren't yet subscribed, I hope today will be the day I earn your subscription. There has been a lot of whinging and crying over last week's South Park Enter the Pandaverse special, and we've reached a new level of cope as entertainment analysts are now criticizing South Park for not also criticizing Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios after it lampooned Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. Essentially, they're saying, "Oh, well, South Park is sexist." That's their claim, right? South Park sexist, and therefore their criticism invalid. And to be fair, I will say that Kevin Feige is just as guilty as Kathleen Kennedy. And I've got a story later today about how the MCU has already backfired. Marvel's basically declaring defeat. And that's going to be a big story, I think, too. I look forward to covering that. Well, let's get to all this. You may have heard me, by the way, talking about how I'm doing this massive give back to my viewers. $10,000 worth of stuff. Xbox, Series X, PS5, Switch OLED, Steam Deck, 60 different $70 gift cards to Steam, Amazon, Nintendo eShop, thousands of dollars in Lego, like the Rivendell set and many others, coffee, gaming monitors, all this kind of stuff. All you have to do is be following me on Rumble. So go to Rumble, follow The Quartering. And then every day for the next 3 weeks, starting Monday, I will pick 8 winners a day. All you have to do is chill out, hang out during my live stream, and you can win. Don't want you to miss that. So make sure you go follow me on Rumble now, get the app, turn on notifications, and let's have some fun. This via boundingintocomics.com. Entertainment analyst Andre Einharjar, the founder of Midnight's Edge YouTube channel, criticized South Park. So, by the way, I have no beef with Midnight's Edge. And its creator, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, for not targeting Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios after it lampooned Kathleen Kennedy. In a recent video upload, he asserted, "Going after Kennedy right now is good and well, but it's way too late. The damage has been done. They needed to have gone after her years ago when it still might have made a difference. By now, can the brand ever even recover? At this point, it's not looking good. So I would rather South Park guys have focused their efforts on the parts of Disney where something constructive might still happen, i.e. they should target Bob Iger and Kevin Feige. Everything Kennedy did, she did under Bob Iger's watch and oversight. He could have stopped her, and did he step in and prevent more movies? Or he could have stepped in, but he did not stop her from doubling down on Disney Plus. At best, that makes him equally responsible." I'd actually agree on that. But it gets worse, he asserted. It was Marvel that succeeded Star Wars as the biggest entertainment franchise in history, but in recent years, that has gone to the dogs, and the person most responsible for that is Kevin Feige, who knowingly and wittingly repeated that Kennedy was doing repeated what Kennedy was doing to tank Lucasfilm over at Marvel. Surprise, surprise, it tanked Marvel too, he declared. "I don't know. I'm almost as if this is a universal recipe for failure." In fact, Kevin Feige made it abundantly clear that he had embraced the ideology while promoting the Eternals back in 2021. He informed Variety, quote, "Well, the notion of switching up the genders and who they sleep with and ethnicities of characters from the comics was baked in initially. That was part of the Nate Moore was really advocating for in moving Eternals to the top of the list for us to start working on," which is hilarious because that was the most spectacular financial failure in Marvel's history. I believe it lost $300 million. Feige elaborated, "When it came to casting, that also did affect it. There were some characters that we changed from male to female. There were some characters that we knew how we were altering from the books, but it also came down to casting. That's the third thing. They decided to gender and race swap them first and who they sleep with first. Then they worried about who is best for the job." In an October 2021 interview, he declared that making Phastos gay in the film was only just the start for LGBTQ characters in the MCU. There have been LGBT heroes before in the comics. It's more than pastime in the movies. Yeah, I love, do you ever think about who the Incredible Hulk is sleeping with during those movies? Captain America, do you really care what, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow is doing in the bedroom? No, nobody cares about that. Weirdo Gen Z shippers do, I suppose. And then you see Hollywood Reporter coming and saying, South Park mocks Kathleen Kennedy Disney diversity efforts. Gina Carano reacts. This via the Hollywood Reporter, of course. In the 47-minute special joining the Pandaverse, which premiered on Paramount Plus on Friday, Cartman begins to fear that he's going to be replaced by a diverse woman. We've all seen the story, essentially. And then it says, Carano, who it should be pointed out that it's unfair. So this is Hollywood now moving to defend this broad. It's unfair to signal out Kennedy for Disney overall box office struggles and stock decline. Lucasfilm, a subsidiary of Disney, and while Kennedy has received criticism over handling of the Star Wars franchise in the past decade, yeah, you mean like the self-inserts and the terrible movies, which saw declining box office returns and plenty of behind-the-scenes creative shakeups, she's not in charge of Disney's overall slate, or considered the mastermind behind the company's so-called woke push. On Kennedy's side of the ledger, The Mandalorian was considered a massive critic and fan success, at least until the third season when everybody abandoned it. And the show was credited with launching the streaming service Disney Plus last year's Andor, and it was arguably the most acclaimed Star Wars title in decades. But other Lucasfilm titles, ranging from Obi-Wan to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, haven't fared so well. I like how they just gloss over that. Dial of Destiny lost $200 to $300 million. It was a complete disaster. Absolute complete disaster. So all of these articles are like, but it's not Kathleen Kennedy's fault. It's actually Kevin Feige or Bob Iger. A woman couldn't possibly make any mistakes. It has to be the fault of a man. Kennedy is also the most high-profile female entertainment executive at the company, perhaps even in all of Hollywood. And it's probably not a coincidence that so many online critics expend so much firepower on her rather than, say, Disney CEO Bob Iger or Marvel President Kevin Feige. Well, I just 100% disagree with that. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone criticizing Disney's decisions are talking about Iger or Chapman or whatever before that. And nobody was, talking about Kathleen Kennedy making decisions at Pixar when they've lost, they lost $200 million on a woke Lightyear film. People talk about Kathleen Kennedy because she is perhaps the most egregious, the most disastrous of all of them. She's the one that pushed the Force's female. She's the one that pushed a lot of this Mary Sue-ness into the Star Wars films that people rejected. So she's getting a rightful amount of blame. But the media now is blasting, South Park, saying that, oh, well, that's sexist because they made fun of Kathleen Kennedy instead of Kevin Feige. What? You're joking, right? The intensity of her online vitriol, not just in the comments, but in the article after article after article after article on various sites, often speculating that she's close to being fired, over the past has seemed outsized, which is part of what South Park is addressing. Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is, I remember all those videos. I made them too. Oh, this is the time. Finally now, finally, Kathleen Kennedy's going to be fired. Nope, not fired. Oh, renewed. Announce up, renewed. You can't get rid of her. The thing is, they write these articles, but did they even watch the episode? I mean, at least Vanity Fair did, where they point out, quote, at one point, the episode featured a fictionalized version of Disney CEO Bob Iger. Okay? They criticize Bob Iger, who tells his fellow executives to, quote, pander harder to frustrated audiences via the pander stone, which we know about. So I don't really understand. They say this episode was sharp enough to get a rise out of Elon Musk, who in response to a clip on Twitter posted a laughing emoji, timely. Gina Carano wrote about it. And she talked about the weird re-education stuff that she had to do. I think that, South Park still has an incredible amount of cultural cachet, an incredible amount of, power inside. I do think that Kevin Feige, to be fair, is 100% just as culpable for the downfall of Marvel as Kathleen Kennedy was for Star Wars and other Lucasfilm projects. I think they're both terrible and they should both be fired. Kevin Feige coasted on a recipe that they rinse and repeated in Marvel movies for, I don't know, ad nauseum for almost all time. And now, and I'm covering in a different topic today that Marvel's essentially giving up on woke, admitting it didn't work, that it's going to be a failure, that it's failed them, and they're trying desperately to bring back old actors and actresses to try and offset it. They're trying to bring back Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson because everyone has rejected their woke heroes. They tried to shortcut it. The frustrating thing with pandering is when you pander, people reject it, okay? And they can tell. People can tell when you're being pandered to. And what it does is it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy for these woke Hollywood types. You're like, oh, people are just racist. They don't want, they don't want a black main character. Instead of saying, doing the work, there's nothing wrong with Kamala Khan as a character. She's goofy, she's for kids, whatever, Miss Marvel, right? But if you're going to cram her in, I think they did the right thing with Miss Marvel. Gave her a little Disney Plus series, worked her into a movie as like a B character. That's actually the right way you get people to like a character. Obviously, Miss Marvel is not meant to appeal to me, but it's just far better than, say, doing Captain Marvel, putting Brie Larson out there and being like, she's the most powerful thing ever, accept it or accept it or you're a bigot. I just, the entire mess, I think South Park did an excellent job at this, and I couldn't be happier that they pointed all this out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to go follow me on Rumble. It's rumble.com. Find my channel, The Quartering. One word, follow it, and be on stream on Monday. 8 winners will be selected every single day for the next 3 weeks. Sponsored by Meta, Rumble, and Coffee Brand Coffee. Hope to see you there. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.